Hey YouTube, welcome to Daddy's RC Addiction. Today we are going to be taking a look at the Jumper T12, specifically the gimbals. I got the Jumper T12 with the potentiometers. I wasn't sure if I was going to like the OpenTX system, but I'm starting to like it. And the potentiometer gimbals are starting to wear out. I reset them, I clean them, and they just don't respond right. So I purchased the HALL gimbals, and that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be installing the HALL gimbals.
Subscribe. Ding the bell.
So first, let's take a look at the problem with the potentiometers. So here I'm in the calibration. I hit to calibrate the sticks. I got everything set at mid. So I hit calibrate. Now I move everything, and you can see the left stick isn't so bad. Well, it's getting there, right? But the right stick is the real problem. Look at the movement. That should be going straight up and down. It's kind of wiggling left and right. I can't even get it to the top corner or the bottom corner. Kind of hangs in there, lags behind. So real problem with these potentiometer. So needless to say, I can't get them calibrated. So we're going to pop in the HALL gimbals. First thing you do is you take a little flathead screwdriver and you pop off these little shoulder caps. Next thing you want to do is you want to take out the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws. I'll do that off camera. Once you have your shoulder caps and your 6 screws out, you want to open the battery bay and take your battery out. Now it should just come right apart, just like that. You will also need to pull out your wheels. Notice they have a little D in them, so they go in basically one way, and that's it. So you want to pay attention to where they plug in before you take them out, because you're going to want to put the new gimbals in the same way and how it's all situated. So you got to take these 4 screws out and unplug these 2 connectors for both sides. Now the throttle side is set up a little bit different. We'll do that one second. First, we're going to do the collective or the pitch and roll side first. Once you have your screws out and you've unplugged your connectors, it just pops out. Pretty much that simple. You want to save the screws because the new ones don't come with screws, and you want to save your tips because the new ones don't come with the thumb tips here. Here is the new HALL gimbal with the item number. Here is a SKU number. And I'll leave a link down below. Just check that later if you want to get these. In the box, you will get a little tension sleeve rod, whatever you want to call that. And you will get the HALL gimbal. Now, with the collective pitch side, you do not need to undo any of the tension springs or plates. You don't need to undo any of those because these need tension in every direction. When we get to the throttle side, I'll show you how to do that. So I'm going to get this hooked up and placed in. Again, it's just putting these connectors in and 4 screws, and it's in. Here you can really see the difference between a potentiometer and a HALL gimbal. If you look right here, you can see how it's a surface against surface, and where there could be some wear or dirt or dust that gets in there and inhibits it from working properly. Over here, you can see the sensor, and when you move the gimbal, there's nothing actually touching. So you could see how the HALL gimbal will definitely wear better than the potentiometer will. Okay, on the collective side, I have the new HALL sensor in. It goes in really easy. Just remember that from the center board, it goes in the top jack, and the board on the left side goes in the bottom. It's going to be the same for the throttle side. The board on the outside will go in the bottom jack, and the board in the center will go on the top jack. The only thing you want to, again, make note of is that the collective side is up on the top, and the throttle side, the middle board, is towards the bottom. And this will be reversed if you're using mode 1. Obviously, this side will be your throttle, and this side will be your collective. Now, for the throttle side, we're going to need that tension rod that they give you. You can see that it's on the old potentiometer one. And we're going to have to remove the tension clip that's already removed from this one and the spring. Let me show you on the new HALL gimbal. Right here, you see this spring? They both come with this spring. It's not like you get a throttle side and you get a collective gimbal. You only get one gimbal, and this is what it looks like. I mean, you're getting two because you're buying two, but they'll all come set up the same way. So in order for this one to work as a throttle, we don't want this bouncing back. We want this moving free. So we're going to have to move this spring here and this little tension rod right here. So when I pull it this way, the spring pulls it back. When I pull it this way, this little tension rod pulls it back. We're going to have to remove those two and then install that little tension rod that makes contact with this wheel, and then you could tighten it down and make it as stiff or as loose as you want it. So let me go ahead and pop these out. If you have a paper clip, this will help. It should be as simple as taking off this spring right here. Right, that should allow this little piece to come out, and then also this piece. Like that. Now your throttle will move freely. Obviously, we got to get the tension rod on there to get the right tension, and then your rudder will still have the spring-loaded effect. So this tension rod comes with a short screw and a long screw, as you see here. The short screw goes in the top, towards the top of the remote or the gimbal, and the long screw goes in the bottom. And then you tighten this up, to your desired tension. So the tighter you get it, obviously the tighter the throttle will be. And you want to do this before you put the gimbal in. It's a lot easier to get all these pieces, the spring and the lever arm, out before you put the gimbal in. So, and then once you got it set up the way you like it, now all you have to do is pop it in like you popped in the collective, and you're good to go. Just again, make note that the board on the throttle side is towards the bottom of the remote. So when you set it in there, it should be like this. This connector will go to the top, and the outside connector will go to the bottom. One other note, I hook up the sensors before I drop the gimbal in place. I just find it's much easier that way. Now I've got the sensors plugged in. All I need to do is drop the gimbal in place and screw it in. One other note, you want to just check your wire management. The outside board here is not going to be an issue, but the inside board moves. So you want to make sure that it's not somewhere tucked in that's going to snag on something. So just keep that in mind once you've got it all set up. At this point, if everything looks good, you can go ahead and throw on your ends on your sticks. And before you close it up, it's a good idea to plug in the battery and do a calibration. Let's do that right now. Got it plugged in, my wheels are back on, I've turned the remote on, and I'm at the calibration page. You want to center everything. Sticks are centered. Now hit OK. It says set sticks to midpoint. We already did that. We hit OK. Now we want to move the sticks around. Down, up, down, left, right, back to center. Left, right, up, down, up, down, up, down. I like to push it to the corners too. You don't have to, but I do. But you can see how much better this is tracking compared to the potentiometer. So once you've moved your sticks around and you centered your wheels, hit enter and you're done. Get out of here. And now it's time to try it on a quad. Quick note, when you are putting the back on, especially if you've got the 4-in-1 module, take note to these pins right here. You got to get them in this little slot. Be careful, go slow, line them up nice, and drop it in easy. Now everything in reverse. Just put in your 6 screws, drop in your shoulder caps, and we're good to test. Ready to go. Okay, I've got my Tiny Hawk 2 selected. I'm going to plug my Tiny Hawk 2 in, and we are going to test out these HALL gimbals. I hope they're going to be awesome. Here we go. Straight away, definitely feels good. Instant response. Definitely feels good. You watch the sticks and the quad, it's like instant. Okay, I crashed. So if you have the Jumper T12 or any jumper that has the old potentiometer gimbals in them, it is definitely worth upgrading to the HALL gimbals. They are much, much better. You saw how much more responsive they were. Initially, the potentiometers were responsive. It worked well, but they wore out so quick. I barely used the remote, and they just got to the point where I couldn't calibrate them anymore. So definitely get the HALL gimbals if you have a jumper with the old potentiometer gimbals in them. It flew the Tiny Hawk 2 really nice in here, very responsive. I can't wait to try it with the Hawk Pro. That will be so much more fun than those old potentiometers. So again, down in the description, there'll be a link for the HALL gimbals, and thanks for watching.
Subscribe. Ding the bell.